In the last video, we set our button and we connected it to the Google provider, which works, but when they log in, we need to do a couple things on our side. We need to check if the user's in the database. If it's not, we need to save it. And we also need to assign the user ID from the database to the session. So we're going to do that in our auth options file, which is in the utils folder. We already have the steps numbered here. So let's bring in up at the top. So first we want to import our connect DB, and then we're going to be working with the user model. So let's say import user from @models user. Okay, and then we'll go down to our sign in. Let's connect to the database. That's simple. We just need to do await and then connect DB. Okay, then we want to check if the user exists. So let's create a variable called user exists. And we'll set that to await, use the user model, and then find one. And what we're going to do is find the user by the email, which we now have access to through this profile, right? If it's a successful sign-in, then we'll have the user's email, username, the image, Google ID. So let's say we want to find where the email is equal to the profile.email. All right, and then let's go here and say if not user exists. So if the user does not exist, we want to save to the database. Now the profile.name can be quite long, and that can cause some issues, so we're actually going to truncate that. So I'm going to say truncate username if too long. Okay, so we'll say const username, set that to profile.name, and then we're going to use slice. And let's say 020. So we'll make it, if it's longer than 20, then we'll truncate it. Then we want to save the user, so we can then call on the user model the create method and pass in an object. We want to save the user's email, which is going to come from profile.email. Okay, we want the username, which is going to be this, right? It comes from profile name, but truncated. And then the image, which will be in profile.picture. Okay, and that should do it. Then we want to return true and allow the sign-in to continue. Now, for the session, we want to get the user from the database and add the user ID to the session. So let's do that. So right here, we'll say const user, set that to await user, and we're going to use find one. We want to find the user by email. That's going to be session.user.email, and that session is coming from here. Then we want to assign the user ID to the session. So let's say session.user.id. Set that to user from the database. Use the underscore ID field, and we're going to just make it toString. Okay, and then we just want to return the session. And that's it. Now we can go ahead and test it out. I'll refresh for good luck. And then click login. Now remember, the accounts you try to sign in as, you have to add as a test user through the Google console, which we did earlier. So I'm going to try with traversymedia@gmail. Now it's going to tell me that Google hasn't verified this app, obviously, because we're in test mode. So we're going to click continue. And then it's going to just, give us the spiel. We're sharing our name, email address, etc. So we'll click continue. And there we go. So now we can see these, right, and the add property, because there's now a session. And that's what we're basing that condition on. So we're now logged in. We don't have a log out yet. We'll do that soon. But I think the next task that I want to do is replace this with the actual Google image. Now, we want to verify that the user got saved, right? Because there's a chance it just logged in and it didn't get saved. So let's go to Compass, and you want to reload your data. So if you go up to the main menu and you go to View and then Reload Data, now you can see we have a users collection. And in that collection, we have a user with a new ID. So this is the ID for the site, right, for our project. And then the email, the username, the image, okay, so it's just a link to the image. We have an empty bookmarks array, which we'll deal with later, and then created at and updated at. So the user was saved. And if they log in again, it'll check and see if it's there, and it won't do anything because the user is already there. All right, so like I said, in the next video, we'll get to the user's profile image.